Welcome to the Weather Gurus podcast for November the 1st, 2022 for the lower 48 United States. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel and support and donate this channel for the latest and the weather news for the lower 48 United States. Thank you for your support, and let's get right into it. Right now, we're going to look at the National Weather Service's satellite radar composite, and overall, I must say, it's pretty quiet for much of the central, the nation's heartland, and the southeast and northeast, as well as the southwest. We do have some showers along the Gulf Coast, the I-10, I-20 corridor, and we do have some showers up in the Pacific Northwest with a vigorous front, upper level low that's extending a cold front that's bringing much cooler conditions, as well as snow showers from the Portland Gorge, the I-5 Columbia River Gorge, through East Washington, Eastern Oregon, and also the high Sierras of California. So first, we're going to look at the showers down here. These are non-severe storms here along I-20 extending from Shreveport, Louisiana through Monroe back toward Jackson, Mississippi. Showers extending down toward Alexandria, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Beaumont along I-10 into the Houston corridor. They've been raining all day with a steady heavy rain to moderate rain there along that corridor as well. These storms will continue to track east, so if you're coming along I-20 heading on into Tuscaloosa and Birmingham and Montgomery, Alabama on I-65, these showers will continue from Baton Rouge to Gulfport to Biloxi and Mobile along I-10 and I-12, and eventually the Florida Panhandle will experience those showers. Now coming out west, we have showers extending into San Joaquin Valley from Merced, Fresno, up through Modesto on the 99 freeway, extending into the Sierra Nevadas, the high Sierra Nevadas. Snow showers will continue up in Lake Tahoe, Reno, Carson City. All of your usual snow zones will get those extended snows. Also some snowfall extending into Portland, Oregon, and the Dalles along I-84 there, as we mentioned before, eastward towards Spokane, up through the Willamette Valley of Oregon. All those areas will be raining along the coast from Coos Bay, Oregon, all the way up to 101 through Seattle, and also through the Olympia National Park and Bainbridge Island. There will be some showers there. High elevation snow, of course, will be along the passes as usual. So that's what's going on in your national picture here. We do have clear skies and a few showers up in the Green Mountains of Vermont there. Nothing really giving too much of one up here in Burlington, but nothing really causing too much of a concern. Now, turning to our hazards here, there are some hazards issued, of course, for that area in the Pacific Northwest. There are some winter storm warnings and watches, weather advisories for Montana, along the border of the Bitterroot chain there in Montana, along the border of Idaho and Montana, and that extends also into the Columbia River Gorge. There is some freeze watches extending in there for the Columbia River Gorge. So if you're in to the north of Baker City, Oregon, and those areas, Pendleton, and all those areas there, you have a freeze watch for you as well. And we also have a bunch of winter weather advisories extending in this into Utah, the Wasatch Range, the Front Range of the Rockies, west of the Continental Divide. So those areas in Breckenridge, Summit County, Vail, those usual areas up there, again, getting heavy snow. So there is a winter weather advisory for those areas as well. And into the rim country of Arizona. Now, there is also extending warnings. There's a high wind warning into the rim country of Arizona, Nevada, much of Nevada, much of the passes, Mojave Pass in California, the Cajon Pass up I-15, those passes along into the Coachella Valley. There is a wind warning for those areas as well. So you want to be mindful of that. The eastern two-thirds of the country, there's no hazards for you. So if you're on the I-95 corridor, extending from Maine to Florida, you look absolutely beautiful. Along the central U.S. as well, from San Antonio, Corpus Christi, all the way up to I-35 to North Dakotas, you look good. There is just a winter storm, a red flag warning, for the dry conditions in South Dakota, from Pierre, South Dakota, and all the way westward, extending into eastern Wyoming, Casper. And there's also a red flag warning for eastern Colorado and into Kansas. So you want to be mindful of that. If you have any burning or outdoor grills, just be mindful of that. The air is dry over there, and so there's no moisture. So that's something to keep in mind. We do have something in the tropics to keep look at. Tropical storm Lisa, which is expected to be a hurricane. Let's give you the latest on that. 5 p.m. advisory today. It's 55 knots winds at 65 miles an hour. Pressure's down to 1,000 millibars, and is moving quickly west at 13 knots or 15 miles an hour. And Lisa is expected to become a Category 1 hurricane, slamming into the Belize, Honduras coastline sometime later on this week. It's rapidly intensifying to a hurricane later on this week, according to the National Hurricane Center, and it will become a Category 1 hurricane, and it's forecast to make landfall in Belize, the central company of Belize there. So Belmont Pond, the islands there, Belize, there's a hurricane warning out for the Rotan Islands out in Honduras, as you know, and there's a tropical storm watches and warnings extending from the Honduras coastline, the Guatemalan coastline, and the Belize coastline. So as this system runs, it moves inland. It's going to bring heavy rain through Thursday afternoon to Belize, Guatemala, Mexico as well. And so as it reemerges back into the Bay of Campeche, Mexico sometime on Sunday, late Saturday, Sunday afternoon, we have to watch this very carefully as when it reemerges, as to what is left of it will we strengthen again and make another landfall. We have to watch that very closely. But that's what the schedule is now, to make landfall sometime between 2 p.m. Wednesday and Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, into Belize as a Category 1 hurricane. And so we're gonna look at the intensity here. The intensity has an end as a strong Category 1, 90 mile an hour hurricane there. Category 1 starts at 74 miles an hour and goes up to 95 miles an hour. And so to be a strong Category 1 hurricane with 90 miles an hour winds, according to the Hurricane Center, and then moves inland and, of course, weakens to a depression. Now, we also have two other storms out there, but they're more of a fish storm. We have Martin, which is out east of Bermuda. It's 60 mile an hour winds. Pressures are down to 991 millibars. It's moving east at 13 miles an hour or 11 knots. And this is way out in the middle of the Atlantic, some maybe 500 miles northeast of Bermuda. And we're going to get advisory. It is intensifying, so it looks like it's going to be intensifying, but this is going to be a fish storm affecting maybe Greenland and Iceland later on Saturday. But right now, it's expected to become a hurricane as well. It's expected to move out to sea in the middle of the Atlantic and expect to become a hurricane. So this is going to be an extratropical hurricane here. Tropical Storm Martin is expected to become a hurricane around the same intensity level too, as a strong Category 1 with 90 mile an hour winds possible there in the next 48 hours, as it just becomes a fish storm, a sea storm. So besides those two storms, we don't have anything in the Eastern Pacific developing out toward Mexico, Cancun. We don't have anything in the Central Pacific developing for Hawaii. So this is the last month of the hurricane season. So it's a way to start off here. And this is the loop of Lisa here. I'm showing you a loop here. I'm just going to analyze it really quick for you. You can see heavy convection on the east side of the storm. There is no shear environment here. So it's got good outflow. You can see the high banding of the cirrus clouds flowing away from it. You can see heavy convection on the east and the northeast side of the system. On the southwest side, there's some dry air penetrating the system here, along with these gaps in the radar and the infrared satellite. And you can see out ahead of it, there's not much to stop it there, as well as some good, besides the landfall of the land interaction with Belize and Honduras and Mexico coastline. So it looks to be very good. It's still moving at a good direction and a good clip, and it will be rapidly intensifying, as showing those signs right now with good convection, strong thunderstorm. Those red cold cloud tops you can see in those red and white there is continuing to blossoming there. That's a good sign that it's strengthening, and it will continue to strengthen as it prepares for a landfall later on this week. So this is what's going on in the national weather. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to hearing you in the next episode. Take care.